Hi everyone, it's Chris at the Vinyl Orchard and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you to everyone who takes the time to watch these videos, to click the like button, to leave a comment down below, and to everyone who subscribes. And I'd love it if you don't subscribe, that this was the video that finally earned your subscription. So thank you very much for your continued support. Now, the other day I was playing an album by a band, a debut album by this band, and it occurred to me that actually the opening track on their debut album is in fact my favourite song by the band, and it's Motors One by the Motors, and the song is called Dancing the Night Away. Now, there's several songs by the Motors I love. I love Forget About You, I love Airport, I love You Beat the Hell Out of Me, which I think is brilliant. But Dancing the Night Away, which came out in '77, I remember buying it after hearing it on John Peel's show. Bought it on 45, bought it on 12-inch, which is a slightly longer version, and then I bought the album a couple of years later. But for me, it's their greatest moment. So for me personally, it's downhill from there after the track one side one of their debut. So that's my favourite song by the Motors, that happens to be track one side one of the debut. Now, it got me thinking, are there other artists and bands where track one side one is in fact my favourite song by that band or artist? Well, works out there's 9 others. This is the next one, Bat Out of Hell by Loaf. Now, I think the title track that opens the album is a fantastic opening song. It's bombastic and grandiose, and I don't think that Loaf ever bettered that song. It's a superb song. I remember seeing the musical Bat Out of Hell a couple of years ago now up in Bristol, and it was the absolute highlight of that show, that song. It was the song that everyone was waiting for, and for me it's the highlight of this album, the highlight of this guy's career. So it's downhill from there, but my favourite song by Loaf is definitely the title track of his debut. Next up is a great debut album from '77, and in fact the song that opens this album is one of my favourite songs from '77, one of my favourite songs of the '70s. I love its simplicity. It's the opening song from the debut album from the Modern Lovers, and the song is of course Roadrunner. Now, there are some other brilliant songs on here. I love Modern World, Old World, Astral Plane, Pablo Picasso. There's some great songs on here, but they never surpass Roadrunner, track one side one of their debut. Superb in its simplicity and its delivery. I adore it. I still listen to it and still love it. The next track one side one of a debut, which is my favourite song by this band, is from a band, I think they're from Seattle, and the vocalist is, I think, the greatest female rock vocalist of all time. And that's quite a claim, but then again, Ann Wilson has got quite a voice. So this is Heart, Ann Wilson, Nancy Wilson, 2 sisters, and some other guys playing in the band. Heart, as I said, from Seattle. This is their debut. Dreamboat Annie. The opening song is called Magic Man, and I think it's it's certainly my favourite song by them. I think they've done lots of good songs. I love their acoustic version of one of their big ballads called Alone. It's a brilliant version, and I do really like their version of Stairway to Heaven they did at the Kennedy Awards back along. Obama was watching, so it's quite a while ago, and they did that in front of the surviving members of Led Zeppelin. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm sure you've seen it. But Magic Man from their debut, I think, is my favourite song by Heart. So, what other bands and artists my favourite songs in fact are track one side one of their debut? Well, next up, I know I've shown this one before, so I'm probably likely to get less of a reaction than I have in the past, but it's the opening song from the Jam, In the City. And the opening song is called Art School, and it's my favourite Jam song. I love it. Now, this is a band that did loads of absolutely brilliant songs. Loads of songs, which are all contenders to be my favourite, but Art School just edges all of them. I just love the energy that song brings. It's punky. I know this band aren't particularly punky, but this is a fairly punky album, and it has that kind of real kind of jagged energy that new wave had in 1977, and I love Art School. It's just a brilliant song, my favourite song by the Jam. Next up is a guy, American guitarist, who I saw in 1980, 81. He was very loud and very mad. And but track one, side one from his debut album, I think is his definitive song. I think it's his greatest moment, and it is downhill from there for Ted Nugent. This is his debut album. The song is called Stranglehold. It's a tremendous song, brilliant guitar work on it, absolutely superb song. But I think it's his greatest moment, and it kicks off his debut album. Now, the next 3, the last 3, not only are my favourite songs by these artists, but I think could potentially be some of the greatest opening tracks, not just from a debut album, but from any album. And the first one is the opening song from the debut album from Patti Smith. The album's called Horses, the song is called Gloria, and it's absolutely glorious. I love it. But its piano starts, you know, Jesus died for somebody's sins, but not mine. It's an amalgamation of two things. Van Morrison Them's song, Gloria, and a poem that I think Patti Smith wrote in 1970 or so called The Oath. And it's a combination of those two things, and it starts off with a kind of gentle piano and gradually builds up to this crescendo. I don't think she ever bettered it. It's a fantastic way to start the album, and it's a really good album, but that is her greatest moment, I think. It's just brilliant. The next band, this is one of the greatest debut albums of all time, and the opening song is incredibly famous for a reason. I think it's just brilliant. It's the debut album from Boston. The opening song is, of course, More Than a Feeling, a song that I think never ages. I just think it's timeless. I think it's brilliant. I love hearing it. I never get tired of hearing it. Yes, I do love Foreplay, Long Time and Peace of Mind, the other two songs on side one, but More Than a Feeling is a true masterpiece, a rock masterpiece, and it's just a brilliant song, and I don't think they ever bettered it. The last song is a band that I think defined a genre, and this particular song I think defined a genre. Now, they've done numerous brilliant songs. This is my favourite song, and it happens to be the opening track from their debut album. It's Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath. It's just, oh, fantastic. From the tolling bell to the thunder and lightning to the doomy riff to the way it speeds up with a little guitar solo at the end to the eerie cover, it's just an absolutely stellar song that defined a genre, and that is probably it is my favourite song by Black Sabbath, and it's probably my favourite of all my favourite songs that kick off debut albums. So there you go. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Which ones have I missed? What are your favourite songs that kick off the debut album? The song that they never bettered. Thanks very much for watching. I'm sure I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Cheers.